Just getting, waiting for. Good evening and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sahuarita Unified School District Governing Board. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will move on to the roll call. Ms. Palacios.
Governing Board President,
Here.
Governing Board Clerk John Sparks, absent. Governing Board Member,
Here.
Governing Board Member, Governing Board Member Raul Rodriguez,
Present.
Manuel Valenzuela,
Present.
Financial Officer,
Here.
Present.
Here.
Thank you very much. We will move on to the approval of the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. President Reese, at this time, I'd recommend your approval of the revised agenda as it's presented.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. President Reese, members of the board and public, you have in your packet draft copies of the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the board back on March 5th, I believe. It seems like a long time ago. And also for the March 24th gathering of the board at the Pima County Board Superintendent Collaborative Meeting. And after your review and consideration, we recommend approval at this time.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, we'll go to the superintendent report. Dr. Valenzuela.
Thank you, President Reese and members of the board. Again, one of my favorite parts of the meeting is sharing about the many wonderful things that are going on in our community. If I were to list all of them, we really would be here very late, and I won't do that to you, but I would share with you a few highlights. There's almost so much that you can't take it all in because there's just too much and it takes place at the same time. Recently, I attended a beautiful festive pep assembly at Walden Grove High School. They had a pep assembly for their academic decathlon. Academic decathlon that is representing the state of Arizona at the United States Academic Decathlon National Finals. They'll be going, I think, in a couple weeks to Des Moines, Iowa, and we're very, very proud. We know that they will represent us with excellence. Also, I don't know where the picture is, but there is a picture of a beautiful 1965 El Camino. By the way, that's the year I was born, in case anybody was wondering. That thing looks like it probably did when it came off the assembly line. That was donated to our school by, I think his name is Mr. Mork. He's a gentleman here, worked on it, is connected, wants to support our automotive technician training program. Donated that to Mr. Garrigan and the students in the program. As you can tell, it doesn't look like it needs much work to me. Beautiful car, but I think it speaks to the spirit of community that defines us and how our community is kind of rooted, working together to give the best of ourselves to our students. So very, very proud of that. Great example. Speaking of cars, I'll just tell you, I don't think I have pictures, but the Santa Cruz Valley car nuts are amazing. They have this humongous car show. If you've never been to it, I've been twice. It takes up basically all of the field at the park there by Quail Creek in January. Amazing cars, and they made a lot of money and donating $22,000 to our automotive program. So very, very proud, very, very grateful. This last one, I tell you, our students make me proud every single day in many, many ways. But this next one, I've never quite seen one like this. One of our students, we opened SDPA post-COVID. And one of the reasons we did it is to support students whose unique family circumstances and time demands require a different kind of a schedule, more flexible schedule. So this little girl, Bristol Perry, you might remember the name. She was their leader in character but wasn't able to be here because she was in Vegas at a national rodeo. This is a first grader. She qualified now for the nationals in Guthrie, Oklahoma. But keep in mind that this little girl is one of our amazing students, and she's 6 years old. Roll it, Amber.
Set her up! Set her up! Set her up! Go on! Set her up! Go on! Go on! Look out! Yeah! Go! Go! Run! Baby, run! Yeah! Go on! Go on! Run! Baby, run! Run!
My heart's racing.
And with that, I'll conclude my report and yield the floor back to you, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to the governing board reports. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say I had an opportunity to attend Wrightson Ridge. They received an A-plus School of Excellence. American Idol Scott McIntyre was there. He sang a couple songs and had a wonderful message for the kids. And I just want to say it was an absolute pleasure to get to attend that. That's
Okay. Mr. Bruno.
Easy. I also attended the A-plus event at Wrightson Ridge, and it was quite the event. I will say the students sang along. They were getting into the song and having a great time. It was well worth attending. The other thing I'd like to say is I was at the Fiesta, the Sahuarita Fiesta, and our students came out in force at that event. We had youth who were singing, we had youth dancing, we had students with the band that were on the stage, and we even had students cleaning up and volunteering all over the event. It was a good event for our students to show off a little bit. Most of them had uniform or something that signified that they were from the school district. So it was an awesome event for us to shine in a little different way.
Ms. Petersmark.
So I want to thank our lunch last month. So awesome. Gardener got a hug, and that was so fun. That was great. Thank you. And then also want to wish all our students good luck and hope they do their best on testing this. I know it's tough, and my own kiddo was like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, got this. Just your best. That's all you can do, right?" So wish them good luck. And apropos for tonight, of course, it's, I don't know if I can say this 10 times fast, National Assistant Principal Appreciation Week. So just wanted to pass along a thank you to all of you. I see you out there who are amazing assistant principals. Thank you. So you guys are the best. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you very much. For mine, it does feel like it's been a long time since we've been here. And I feel like between me and my children, we've been all over the world in the meantime. So
You literally have. I
literally
believe
have.
You literally.
So I just want to put a shout out to the Sahuarita High School students that traveled to France with some of our very own district administration. I'm glad you guys made it back and had a fantastic journey while you were there. And I also want to put out congratulations to both SHS and Walden Grove's Winter Guard. They competed in state 2 weekends ago. Walden Grove finished 7th, Sahuarita finished 6th. So congratulations to both those teams. And then Sahuarita Indoor Percussion participated in their state competition last weekend and took 7th overall in the state in their division. So congratulations to those groups and for a job well done. Now, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. We have no recognitions this evening. We do have call to the public, no call to the public. We're just gonna zoom
Move
right
along.
through this tonight. All right, we will move on to the 25-26 compensation plan. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese. And I must say, it is nice to see you all. It does seem like a long time and so much has happened. I was just going to state, Dr. Sparks spoke to him prior, and he asked that I convey his regrets. He was making every effort to come here, and he's actually ill. And I told him, John, you need to stay home and take care of yourself, because as we know, he's high energy, full speed, all in. But you know, sometimes we all need to kind of recharge the batteries and get well. So he sends his regrets and his regards. And we move on to the compensation plan, a very important part of our spring board meetings. And this evening is no different, although it is different in some ways. I begin with the first slide, and I think I use these words at least the last few. I like Dr. Ken Blanchard. The greatest investment you make is that which you invest in. And in a people-centered organization, that could not be more true. In an organization where the outcome is the growth of people, that could not be more true. And in an organization where 90% of our budget is people, that could not. So for many reasons, we hold these truths to be very, very important. Now, what we have is a little bit more of a challenging situation, and I've been very honest with our community, with our teacher advisory forum. I meet with teacher representatives every month and support staff representatives from all the schools and all the areas, maintenance, transportation, et cetera. That it's just a little different. Now, you might say, well, why is it different? Well, demographically, one of the things that we're all very well aware of, or if we're not, I think it's worth saying, is that the demographics of our society are changing. Birth rates are down, generations are different, kind of approach things differently. Economically, we all know that things are more expensive. Housing is more expensive. People are maybe delaying decisions, waiting for decisions. All these things impact the growth of young people, and they have many implications. And they're not just in Sahuarita. I'll guarantee you, they're all over Arizona and nationally. There's law and policy changes that have taken place in our state. We have one of the largest voucher or ESA programs in the whole country. I'm just stating a fact, and what that does is it distributes dollars across more area, and it makes what we do educationally more of a public commodity. It's just the world in which we live, as opposed to historically where the public schools were that place of local community investment. So for all these reasons, we have some enrollment challenges. You know, I think we have a graph that shows kind of a little bit of Sahuarita, and I will say I'm the eternal optimist, or I try to be. Trust me, we're doing better than a lot of places. But we are grappling with changes in enrollment growth. When I came in Sahuarita in 2005, which was when Rancho Sahuarita was just kind of catching fire, I think we were probably growing at about 15% a year, maybe, like almost a school a year. I came shortly before Anza Trail opened, and look at what we've done since. So for all these reasons, and you can see the different grade levels, it's interesting because I guess you'd call that fuchsia or purple, the reddish, purplish, is going up. That's the high school, and that's the current trend, is our high schools are our fullest schools right now, followed by our middle schools, and then our elementary schools. Those are flatter or even slightly declining. This year we declined by about 0.9% on our average daily membership, which is that ADM. So I say that just because we know that our budget is tied to these numbers. Now, how are we addressing that, or what can we say about that? One of the things I always say as the proud product of public education is that great public educations governed by their local communities is one of the greatest inventions that mankind has had, certainly in our country. And in as much as it's a gateway of opportunity, a preparation for good citizenship, and really for learning how to work with all kinds of different people that are representative of our society, it's a great learning experience for students. I think it's one of the best. For me, it was for preparation for that life. And when I look at the support of our community, the business community, we talked about the Santa Cruz Valley Carnuts and the many different groups that support us, the support of our board and our community, and how we work together to make our schools the best they can be. The outcomes speak for themselves. And that's where I say, when I look at the ROTC group, which I just heard just yesterday, hot off the press. Well, Kim's not here today. We'll have to tell her. For I think the second year in a row, we are the Unit 20 unit year, right, Ms. Magnuson? We are the Unit 20 ROTC unit of the year. Again, we did it last year. I talked about the academic decathlon program. Mr. Rodriguez talked about the A+ award. We're in the middle of completing, under Mr. Downs' leadership, a full wing at Walden Grove High School, 8 new classrooms, Wrightson Ridge. Our facilities, half of them are going to get a new paint job this summer, because our community is investing together, and the results are amazing. I mean, just this year, I'm just telling you, and I tell you this just because I'm proud and because it speaks to what we can do when we work together and how public education works when it works well. We have a student, I think, at SHS. I just heard this. I hope I'm not speaking out of line. We had a student this year that was admitted to NYU, a very selective university. We have another student that graduated a few years ago that's about a month away, graduating from Vanderbilt Law School, getting ready to take the bar. And we have another student that graduated even a few years, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, who has a chance to play for a Major League Baseball team this year. This year, I think he's going to start in AA. And so together, we're honoring our mission of helping students succeed. And I think it's about being intentional about helping to communicate that, which is the next page. So our plan, first of all, is continuing to do what we do, messaging and sharing, letting people know about, in many ways, about what we do. And I hear this from our board, and I really appreciate it. Is we need to tell our story. We need to advertise what we do. We need to make people aware. And Amber is diversifying and expanding her tool belt of resources to help outreach and make people aware. So there's messaging, sharing. There's also innovating. This week, I was very proud. Liz Flores and John Eves, one of our teachers at SDPA, they made a presentation at the University of Arizona about how SDPA is meeting a unique, individualized instruction, like the young student that we saw today. We're starting a new aircraft aviation program, CTE program, next year to prepare students for the jobs of today and tomorrow. We're working with the local Chamber of Commerce and the Phoenix Chamber of Commerce to access through Elevate at Arizona additional counselors to target specific high needs, high paying, highly aligned workforce opportunities in career and tech. So we're working together to innovate and to do different things. We're doing additional outreach efforts to tap kindergarten students that are ready to come to school in our community. So messaging, innovating, collaborating. We're working with NAU to help build our own customized leadership development program, help grow the next generation of leaders, of principals and assistant principals, directors. We're working with, we continue to work with U of A in teacher and professional preparation. We have a site here. We're even now working with ASU. You know, we like to be rivals in sports, and I'm the biggest anti-rival of ASU of anybody. But you know what? They do good stuff, and we can work together. And they're working with us to help prepare special educators in the high need, high demand areas of special education by by, for example, tapping um, some of our teachers with unique talents to individualize instruction that are already accomplished, effective educators who might be able to expand their horizons and help our mission in meeting the needs of our special needs students. So we need to messaging, innovating, collaborating. The other thing we have to do is adapting. One of the things you see on the slide there is we did not overreact or knee jerk. We did adapt. We very intentionally trimmed, right-sized, 7 positions because with the changing demographics, we couldn't invest those same resources as if we were bigger. So we trimmed those. Similarly, with some support staff positions, we did not, as a general whole, we worked really hard and were able to overall provide jobs for everybody whose position was not going to be offered, whether they were a long-term sub. And if they were a teacher and they wanted to stay, we were able to find other places for them. Thank you, Mr. Downs, for that. Same with our support staff. With very limited exceptions, we didn't have to lay anybody off. And that's something that prioritized very, very highly. We also saved about $1 million, which we had to, because it's the only way we could honor that goal of investing in our people through this compensation plan. So now we move to the goal. So what we felt we could responsibly do is a raise that we were shooting for would be about 3%. You know, in the past, we've taken whatever we could afford and we've just given 1%. And that's good, and it helps in many ways. Most notably, it helps our more veteran people to a greater, well, it helps everybody, but it helps to a greater degree than some of our more junior members, because 1% of a bigger number is a bigger number. But we made a determination this year after doing because we try to do both. We value longevity. We also want to invest and support our newer colleagues so that they can get the best compensation we can afford them, so that they can stay in the profession and grow with us. And also so that we can raise our entry level wages so that we can recruit more new people into the profession. So after 2 years of percent, we made a collective decision. We were going to do flat. And as I have in my little simple dial there, the cost of all these new expenses, which we were very careful about, was a total of about $2 million. I mentioned that we trimmed about $1 million. So the overall cost is $1 million. And the next 2 parts just highlight some of the new costs, which I think are worth mentioning. Medical insurance in today's world is what it is. It goes up. Frankly, this year it went up a little bit less than it did the last couple of years, but it was still about a $100,000 increase to our premiums. Our contract with our liability insurance provider, the Arizona Risk Retention Trust, which also does our workman's comp through the Alliance, about $300,000 there. And we did do about 130,000 worth of new positions. Just for comparison, last year we had like 400,000. And part of it is you have to change. You have to adapt to the growth. Growth trims, you got to trim. But like, I'll give you a hint for like what the positions are that were new. We're opening 1,000 probably square feet with the new wing at Walden and with the new classrooms at Wrights and Ridge. We got to not only light them, but we also got to clean them. So we need a couple, whatever it was, 2 or 3 custodians. Also in our educational focus on individualized instruction and what's called universal design for learning, or multi-tiered system of supports. We have acronyms as good as any profession. And so we need that coordination to really move that and elevate that approach to our mission, which is individualized support for the success of each kid. So at the end of the day, just keep in mind the net cost of this is overall about $1 million for the salaries. Now I'll tell you the plan. What I'm asking you to, I recommend that you approve. I'll start at the top on the next slide there with where it says the plan. There it is. The recommendation is a flat raise for all certified employee team. This is basically teachers and related professional staff, professional certificated employee. Is a $2,125 flat raise. Again, on average, this represents almost 4%, a 3.9% increase. So of course, if we're putting in the equivalent of what could be 3% just across the board overall for all certified people, it tells you the fact that it's 3.9 says that our employees, if you were to do a kind of a box plot, you'd see that there's a slightly more concentration on the younger, newer employees, or at least newer to the district, right? Because this flat raise for a majority of them was more than 3%. And then in addition to that, we're all familiar with Prop 301, which ebbs and flows with the sales tax. And we work really, really hard. And I always give credit to Lizette's predecessor, Charlotte, and that's continued to try and maintain the even keel that prevents and gives our people consistency and predictability so that they're not riding the wave of the business cycle, right? And so, but nonetheless, we were able to put a modest increase of $310 additional in the performance pay part for Prop 301. So that's for our teachers. For our support staff team members, it's a little more complicated, but not really. By the way, the average for them is about 3.5%, but it's a little bit different. You know, support staff team members are different. They're hourly employees. They're protected by the Fair Labor Standards Act, which means it's a little different. They have different job categories depending on the required skills, industrial credentials, training, responsibilities, maybe supervisory duties, but they're hourly. So what we're doing there first is a 45 cent per hour increase for everybody. I think we have 9 categories, like ABC. And in addition to that, we did a comprehensive study to look at how our people are doing in comparison and in contrast to their peers' field, because we want to be as competitive as we can. And we did find, interestingly enough, if I could generalize it, but pretty accurate, it seems that our employees on the initial side of the job category, so these are like our more entry level, the ones that generally are lower paid, those we were fine or even a little bit ahead. And part of that is we've been really proactive about staying ahead of the minimum wage developments that have come. So we've stayed ahead, so we're not playing catch up with that. The other one that we're actually pretty solid with the market rate is the top 2. You're talking about your HVAC technicians, your electricians, your plumbers, your cyber people, your IT people. So these are folks that, by virtue of the market forces at work, we've had to attend to them just to be able to get people. It's somewhere in the middle where we were off. So to varying degrees, everybody gets 45. I think 5 out of the 9 categories, and they're all in the middle, are going to get additional to kind of close the gap. In some cases, they might be a little bit behind, and we won't close the whole gap, but we're making progress. Try and do it every year. So some categories, one category might get an extra dime per hour because they're less behind. The next one might get 20 cents per hour because we're more, there's a bigger gap. But on average, everybody, support staff is going to get, the average increase is going to be about 3.5%. And then for our administrators, and again, our administrators, these are our professional, salaried, exempt employee team members. These are also basically 12-month employees, also a distinction. And they will receive a flat increase. On average, it's about 3.5%, $3,245. I think it's just a tidbit of something to keep in mind, besides that they're 12-month employees, that in the last 8 or 10 years. There's been very appropriate, very due focus on the need to address teacher salary. What's happened over time is that there's been a compression among administrators. And so to not only be competitive, but to maintain harmony and balance in the demands and the scope of administrative jobs, we've worked to make this investment in our administrators as well. I think that's fair and that's reasonable. Again, all of these are on average higher than 3%, with that 3% investment. And again, that bodes to that decision conscious to do a flat raise. The other thing is I mentioned insurance, so we are proposing an additional $245 toward the medical contribution. The medical contribution this year is $6,375. It's basically almost enough to pay for the individual, depending on what they pick, right, Scott? And this will take it up to $6,620. Again, the goal is when we do our best to give people the best raise that we can, even in more challenging times, what we don't want is then to offset that corresponding exactly with the increases that are incurred with health insurance, which is always going up. We've buffered it. What I can tell you is that the employee only, depending on what they pick, but regardless of what they pick, it'll be for medical, it will be less than $10 a pay. So again, you'll still get a raise. It won't be off. We offset that to a large degree. I think the next point, I would just make a few notes before I make the final recommendation, and that's one is the growth trends. You've heard me in the last few years, and it has been a few years, where we're very strategic, we're very creative, we're also very conservative. I'm always very proud of the fact that we save a fair amount every year. We do it intentionally. You think back to the challenging days of the COVID era, it saved us. Be able to lean on that, got us through. One of the things that I've told you, though, in past years is with these demographic shifts, which have been coming, we've seen them coming, but we haven't had to tap into it, is that the anticipation this next year is that we will have to tap into that carry forward. Now, it's healthy right now. The issue is that unless something changes, reductions in our expenditures and or increases in our enrollments, that's not sustainable. So it's a bridge, it's a strategy while we're both right-sizing for the current need, future need, and also working intentionally to increase enrollment. So we may have to tap into that. We expect we will have to tap into it. We've tried to make it so where it's not as much as we've had to even anticipate. And we haven't actually had to do it in the past, right? Not in the past. I mentioned the conservative budget building, which is always how we roll. And pending your approval, the anticipated process will be that on April 15th, teachers will receive their contracts. We do all that electronically. Ways. The contracts followed closely, if not at the same, with support staff wage notice and contracts as well. And I finish with another quote that I use often. Leadership is not about being in charge, but it's about taking care of the charge. And I think as you hear week in and week out, or every other week, because we're here usually every 2 weeks, is that we have amazing people, amazing things, every aspect of what we do. To the teachers who teach, the people in the office who counsel and advise and guide, the people that are making sure our facilities are well maintained, well kept, that we have state-of-the-art technology, that it works, that it's safe, that we're communicating, that we're managing our resources. We have great people, and I'm proud of the work we're doing. I think this package, even in challenging time, recommends our commitment to investing in that great resource, taking care of the people. So with that, I do recommend approval of the compensation plan for this year 25-26.
Thank you very much. We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Brown?
I just want to say in 25, maybe 30 years of work in the district, I have worked with 4 superintendents. I have worked with 5 business personnel. And this, me, is bigger than just this piece. It goes across the district and all the budgets we work on, hours that go into it, and I greatly appreciate that. I have been in some tight situations. I do not see this as a tight situation. I see it as kind of a blip in the road. We can move forward with this without a problem. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other discussion? I just want to say thank you to everyone who had a piece in putting this together, and really close analysis that needs to be done, looking at to make sure that we can retain our really good people and making sure that we can move forward with what our mission is. So I just thank you very much for putting this together and having it so beautifully presented. If there's no other discussion, we'll move on to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Madam President?
Yes.
Before we move on to the next item, I would like to evoke a point of privilege, if I can
Mhm.
interject.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, one of the things we teach our teachers is the importance of monitoring and adjusting. I think it's actually one of the essential elements of instruction, right, Ms. Yes. So we were talking about how busy it is between sports and end of year assemblies and getting ready for graduation and promotion and college and all that stuff. And I know how much this board values the board's recognition program called Leader. And, you know, I know how hard it is sometimes to get here. We have this evening, I was just told, a leader in character who has been identified for her excellence in citizenship, character, leadership, and these attributes that really, I think, define leadership and make our students shine across our community, state, and nation. And she won't be able to be here at the meeting where we're recognizing because she is a senior Sahuarita High School softball player. And next board meeting is senior night. But hopefully senior night is just, I assume it's the beginning because hopefully we'll be in the playoffs and we'll be continuing on. But so we will monitor and adjust. I'd like to ask the board to recognize this student. She's a senior at Sahuarita High School. Her name is Kyra Sample. And maybe we could come down and have her take a picture with us and shake our hand, and we'll make sure she gets her frame certificate, her letter, and gift card, and make sure that we get it to her. So let's give Kyra a round of applause. Come on down. Where are you going next year? NAU, go Jacks. Photo, yeah. I would say, yeah, if the board could come around, let's take a quick. Hey, Kyra, go Mustangs. You guys get in the playoffs. Madam President, before this family leaves, I need to let you all know that this young lady, Tyra, I know you all think I'm old. Her mother, not her mother was my student in junior high. Her mother was my student in junior high. See, must have taught her well. She has this wonderful, amazing young lady. Good to see you. Oh.
There you go. Awesome.
I'm gonna go give
Awesome.
my hug.
That's awesome.
It's been a long time. How you doing? So proud. Must be so darn. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. No, not a problem. Anytime we can recognize our students, I'm yay. All right, we will move on to the next item of business, which is the appointment of the SHS assistant principal. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese. I thought it's fitting, and I will confess that in the whirlwind of this week, maybe this year, I wasn't aware that it's National Assistant Week. So I think it's fitting that we are recognizing the appointment of two new assistant. And again, we're beginning with the assistant principal at Sahuarita High School. You know, it's been said, good things come to those who wait. Another similar word is patience is a golden virtue. So I would say think back to July when Mr. D'Souza was appointed, when the board appointed Mr. D'Souza as principal at Anza Trail. And Principal Magnuson and her team, Ms. Favela, they made a conscious choice based on what I would call is the big picture vision to forego and wait on the appointment of their assistant principal. And they've basically been operating without a full staffing administrative complement. But it was purposeful. It was purposeful. It was to maximize the process that would lead to the identification of the best candidate, the best fit for their position at this particular point in time, because as I said, the greatest investment, that is so important. So I know it was a challenge, so thank you for that. As usual, thank you, Mr. Downs, for leading the charge with this. Scott does a good job. He's done enough of them where it seems very routine, but I know it's a lot of work. The screening, the background checks, the outreach, the formulating of a committee, just the right makeup involving students, parents, support staff, teachers, administrators, students, and really going through a rigorous process. And the process has served us well. And with that, this evening, I'm pleased to tell you that at the end of that process, I was asked to meet with the recommended candidate. His name is Drew Chambly, and Drew is, I believe, a graduate of Cienega High School. Yeah, okay, that was the part that I wasn't sure about. I know you worked there. And Mr. Chambly has a bachelor's degree in special education. In particular, according to his resume, I think it's a specialization in mild to moderate disabilities. And that student services focus is a nice addition to the team. Very significant part of the overall process. He's worked as a department chair in the inclusion and special ed department at Cienega. He supervised certified staff members. He's worked with related service providers like speech pathologists, psychologists. He served as an evaluation specialist in terms of when the evaluation process takes place, the onboarding, student service youngsters. Worked as an inclusion specialist, 504 coordinator, which is basically the management of the student services supports, including working with the support staff that works and under supervision delivers the services to the students and the accommodations. So he was overseeing like 25 special education paraprofessionals. He's also been a high school football coach. Probably seen him on the other side of the gridiron at some point. And he was part of their students' services success team, referral or their teacher assist process. He was recommended by Scott and the committee unanimously by strong consent. After I met with him, I understood. I very quickly picked up on his grit, that Mustang grit we talked. His student-centered approach to the work we individualized focus on their needs, and on being a team player. And I can see the fit for this position, and I'm grateful that Drew chose to apply here. Drew's in the last stages, literally the last few weeks of finishing a master's degree at Northern Arizona University, who I mentioned we're partnering with again in building our own leadership development program and cadre. I'm really, really excited about this young man here this evening with beautiful family, and it is my pleasure and honor to recommend Drew Chambly for the appointment of a Sahuarita effect.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Oh, yep. Oh.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion?
I'll just say we're not proud.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations. Do you-
Drew, if you'd like to come down and say a couple words, you may. You don't have to, but if you've got something to say, come on down. I forgot you have a boot.
Hopefully I'm loud enough.
There we
Just
go.
wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. Words can't really express how excited my family. I see that reality prioritizes success and well-being. I think it's just an incredible privilege to be here and do that work day in and day out. And I can't think of a. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of the Walden Grove High School Assistant Principal, Dr. Valenzuela.
Thank you. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. Again, the greatest investment is that which we make. As you think back, not too long ago, when the board approved the appointment of Miss Lisa de la Osa be the next Walden Grove, following Kristen Miller, who's done an amazing job there and is moving out of state to continue her journey. So that left the Mrs. De La Osa's assistant principal role. And I know that Mr. Elkert and Ms. De La Osa, and I would say to the faculty and staff in the culture of Walden Grove High School, it is a very team-oriented, team-first. And so I know they took with great priority the process of identifying the person who not just has the smarts and the abilities and the education, but the fit and the character, the shared values to keep moving the mission forward. I am pleased to tell you that we received a number of applications. I think we got maybe a dozen. I think we interviewed like 7 or 8. And I think it speaks not only to the ongoing dynamic state of our society, but I do think it speaks to the fact that although we're not perfect and public education is not perfect, that sincere, heartfelt commitment, right, to serve our kids, to advance the mission and the promise of our mission, helping students be successful, it shows. And it's a community that will welcome and help people else in this work we do together. Again, I won't say it again because it's the same rigorous process that reflects the seriousness with which we take the objective. Again, they interviewed, I think it was 8. There were multiple strong candidates. And I will say, because I was briefed by Mr. Downs in particular, by unanimous, they recommended Ariana Horbeck, who is not that new in terms of our community and also in terms of administration. She's currently the assistant principal at our largest school, Anza Trail, but has been in our community for many years. Ariana been in education for the better part of 20 years, in some way, shape, or form. She's taught kindergarten, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 5th grade. I think the majority of those years, I want to say maybe, were in Continental. And so she's part of our community. And when I asked her, when she was recommended, I asked her, why you're an assistant principal, big school, why do you want to? And to me, it speaks to kind of her character and her desire to continue to grow. She goes, I want to keep growing. I want to keep developing. I'm interested in the high school. I really feel connected with this, and I want to be a part of that. I want to grow for the long haul. And I think that's exciting. As we build capacity in the future of our district, to have people with that kind of vision, that kind of mindset, she's proven herself here already in terms of her skills, her knowledge of instruction, her leadership, commitment to work. And I hear from the team at Walden that they're super excited to have her, that she is an ideal fit as they go forward in the chapter of Walden Grove. Ariana has a bachelor's degree, University of Arizona in elementary ed, and also a master's of education degree. It's my pleasure and honor to recommend Ariana Van Horbeck as the next assistant principal, Walden Grove High School.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion? So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
It's ready to rock.
Anybody else? I just want to say congratulations and thank you for being willing to grow with our district. This is something that we as a board have been talking about a lot. Is how do we encourage that growth of leadership within our own ranks? And so this is not maybe the most traditional path, but that's okay too, and it's great. So thank you very much. With that said, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Dr. Valenzuela and members of the governing board, I want to sincerely thank you for this opportunity to serve the staff, students, families, and community of Walden Grove High School as assistant principal. I'm truly honored and really excited to take on this new role. Education is a team effort, and I'm grateful for the trust you've placed in me to support our mission of academic excellence and student success. I look forward to collaborating with the incredible staff at Walden Grove and continuing to build a school culture where every student feels seen, supported, and empowered. So thank you again for the opportunity to join the Walden Grove PAC.
Dr. Valenzuela. If I may, I just want to thank both Mrs. De La Hoz and Magnuson. Took a strong leader in that committee. So everything we do is to both.
We will move on to the consent agenda this evening. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. In your packet, as is customary at this point in the meeting, I reference a list of items that are deemed routine and may be considered in one motion. And at this point, I do recommend approval of the consent agenda.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on. Does any board member have any possible future agenda considerations they would like to come to a meeting? Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that. I should have probably put that in my report. I believe it's April the 15th or 16th. Yes, we're bringing some reference experts to talk about the different aspects. So I think that's, we're just coordinating schedules, but it'll happen before the end of April. Okay, yes. Yeah, and it's an important topic, and I'm actually really, I'm looking forward to engaging with the board and the community and having this. Thank you for that reminder.
Any other items? Great, seeing none, we shall establish the next board meeting here in this room on April 23rd, 2025. Details on agenda items will be on the website. There is no executive session this evening, so I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Been properly moved. Second, any discussion? None, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you and have a good evening. Yeah.